Hey, folks, there we are. Yes, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore. Guess what? I'm in Vegas. That's right. Came out there to see the Texans. Of course, some folks went to see Usher. Let me pop this music down. Some folks have already got a chance to see Usher. My good friend from the Gilmore Mirror, Elwin Henderson, is going to see Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, it's who's who. You name what. So let me bring him on in here. Yeah, and let me go ahead before we get this out the way. Yes, your Houston Texans, I think, played for about 3/4 of a game. I think that'll be a fair assessment. They lost to the Raiders today, 38-20. But in the ball game, I think that touchdown that the Raiders scored right before the halftime was somewhat indicative of what the potential dam opening that could happen, and it did happen. But I think the Texans was just as much applicable in helping this situation turn out the way it did. And Elwin. So anyway, tell you what, before we get to you, let me go ahead and let the man have his say.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. The Ken Ross Agency, 281-235-5952. He's been my agent for a long time, and I appreciate him. And I tell you what, if you got any issues and the problems, give him a call. He has a potpourri of products that he can sell you. And you know what? It's like being out. I tell you what, his agency is somewhat being like being out on the Las Vegas strips. You got it. He name it. He can give it for you. But Elwin, back to the Texans today. Your initial comments on the Texans before I'm not gonna let Lovey talk first. I'm gonna go straight to Jerry Hughes after you get through, and then play Lovey second. Go your initial thoughts on the Texans today.
Well, three big things. Number one, and the biggest thing, just like has been the case the whole season, they can't finish. They don't know how to finish. And I think a lot of that is the youth. And an additional part of that, and I'm sorry, but I've said this ever since the new agreement between the NFLPA and the NFL came out, and I think that's why we're seeing so many injuries across the league. They cannot get enough padded practices and aren't in good enough shape to play a 17-game season, and that's not the Texans, that's just everybody. But as far as the Texans specifically, AD, the same thing we've talked about before. Davis Mills, he does some good things, but he is still struggling. No excuse for that 72-yard pick six. Just a horrible decision that he made there. And then, of course, it's hard to imagine Kaimi Fairbairn misses a chip shot field goal and then makes a 55-yarder. And the other thing is you can't get in the red zone 3 times and have a missed field goal and 2 field goals. They left 12 points right there on the board that could have made a big difference in that first half.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, to me, this was a close contest. I got questioned the legitimacy of letting when the Raiders score at the halftime because right at the end of the half, because that gave them some momentum. But the thing about it, the Texans came out, took the kickoff, although they got a field goal, but they still came out and put points on the board. Now that doesn't make up for the 12 they left in the first half, but they still came out and left some on the board. But before we get there, not going to Loving, I'm gonna have to get Jerry Hughes because that finishing and there's still an issue is about finishing.
Yep.
Situation. I mean, first half, competitive, and all of a sudden it gets away from you again. What's happening?
We just got to finish. We understand that whenever you got your foot on the team's neck and they're at their home, you got to be able to finish in the second half. They came out. You got to tip their hats to them. They came out, played a tremendous second half. We didn't play Texans football. Just not discipline, too many pre-snaps, just putting them in position to be successful instead of doing what we were doing in the first half, which was making them play behind the stick. So we got to understand that we're a young defense, but you can't you can't give a home team the advantage on early downs like that, and that's just what we did.
Jared, what do you think about what Jacobs was able to do and what makes him so tough to stop?
Yeah, he's got good vision. He knows how to find the holes. We just got to do a better job of bringing all 11 bodies to the ball. We got to understand that it takes a group effort to take down a special back like that. And so whenever you're playing someone like that on Sunday, that's how it's got to be, with all 11 hats flying around, putting bodies on them.
Did they do anything that you weren't expecting, Jerry, or was it just, you think, problems?
Got that one cut off. Sorry about that, Elwin.
No problem.
And speaking of Josh Jacobs, and the thing about it, we've seen, backs have had career so far that this is the third back so far in this young NFL season that has had a career year.
Yep.
With the Texans. Josh Jacobs, 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 TDs. And the thing about it, to me, the coup de grace, as far as I was concerned, was that 15-yard run at the 7:06 mark in the fourth quarter. In fact, I actually tweeted it out. Ball game, folks. That's it. And literally, it was. The 73-yard interception that was sort of like the icing on the cake, the cherry on the top for the. But that game, when he went 15 yards there, and because he was averaging almost 7 yards a pop.
Yeah.
Come on. When you got a back that's doing that, just like what Shelton. The San Diego back, he had almost like a career day. Like you mentioned, Mills did have some. He done some good things today. Yeah. It's not gloom and doom, guy.
No.
Gloom. No, it's like Lovey said, and we'll listen to Lovey in a few minutes talking about where there was some positive there. Damian Pierce, the irony of Damian Pierce and Jacobs both had the same amount of carries, 20 carries a day. Because they did a better job of keeping Damian Pierce hemmed in. He only got 92 yards. But the Texans were in a giving mood today. Josh Jacobs sit up there and came up to the table, grabbed the dice and just kept rolling and then pass. I kept, since we're in Vegas, I guess I'll go ahead and make some.
There you go.
make some references there, but I just, I know it's not for the life of me. This team, we were very optimistic about this team coming into the season. Yeah. Now, can they catch fire somewhere? Yeah, they can, but I think time is starting to run out. The victories that we thought that possibly they could win and be in contention with, it's time is winding down, and at a certain point, you sort of going, do you cash your chips in now or do you wait? Yeah. So, what do you? Your analysis right now, Elwin.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's put up or shut up time just around the corner here, and the thing that I'm most afraid of. Lovie Smith got the fans all fired up. They felt like he could come in here and do something. And I think they were expecting more than what was realistic just because of the team that he had. Yes, he's improved the team, but they're still awfully young, and there's not a lot of backup, not a lot of strong backups, I could say, in a number of the positions. And that's what's hurting them. The problem, I'm afraid, is if they can't start putting something together quickly, the fans are going to just disappear again. And they certainly don't need that to happen. But it's disappointing because they have been in literally just about every game all season long. And just, that you always hear talked about, which is true, in every NFL game. It's a play here, a play there, but they seem to find the most inopportune times to give up a big play or fail to make a big play. And, of course, you remember when I asked Lovey in the press conference, he didn't seem to be, thinking that was a big deal. But Devontae Adams ate them alive today.
No, when Devontae Adams done what he did to him about 3 years ago?
Yep.
When he was with the Packers,
Right.
And I think that one game, if I'm trying to remember, I think he had 12 to 15 catches.
It was way up there.
Yeah, I mean he had a high double digit. I think he went to the Pro Bowl and made All Pro just off of that one game, because he was him and Aaron Rodgers was just playing pitch catch, and that's exactly what they've done. And we can't deny they sort of went toward him. They targeted him first quarter. He had about 4 or 5 targets, and they sort of went away from him.
Yeah, they did.
They really did. They went away from it, because I guess if you got Josh Jacobs that's just tearing holes and averaging almost 7 yards a carry, you can afford to go away from him. You can afford to get away from him. But and defensively, they still I chose not to play that clip, because I asked the series where I thought the game really got away was the fourth down play in the fourth quarter, when they had fourth down and less than a yard, and the Raiders were moving. They weren't set. And to me, here's where a sharp quarterback, an Aaron Rodgers type, and gets up to the line of scrimmage, snaps the ball and moves. Go.
Yep.
I mean, they literally are running around, and obviously, that was motion. Kenyon Green got called for motion, but really, when you look at the whole sequence of the play, Larry Tunsil sort of rocked, and he rocked enough to cause Kenyon Green, because he just couldn't hold his water. Excuse the expression. The young man couldn't hold his water, and bam, that went the play. But it was fourth and less than a yard. And I'm going like, well, you had this opportunity before, but and they tried to go. They did this little, we spread it everybody out, and then I'm sitting there going like, and the Raiders were sort of running around now, and I'm going like, okay, if you weren't going to do anything with it, why are you showing it?
Yeah. I would have just gone with a quarterback sneak there.
Well, we heard about that now, though. But anyway, let's go ahead and let Levy go ahead and give his say so.
Kind of simple as that. It hurt when you lose Malik Collins, but I thought first half wise we were in pretty good shape. But second half didn't do what we needed to. They got the run going. Of course, Jacobs heckled back, but breakdowns, tackles. Just weren't physical enough at the end. There's a lot of things. Got to give him a lot of credit for that. It doesn't help when you miss a field goal too. Left points on the board there. So they definitely deserve to win today. We've played a lot better than we did. But we'll keep pushing on. We get a chance to go into our division next week. But right now, of course, there's a lot of disappointment. Injury-wise, you saw the guys that went down. Hopefully it's nothing serious, and we'll get some of those guys back. Take the question.
Well,
is it just me, or does this sound like same song, different verse?
I think even if you move some notes around on the sheet, it's still pretty well at that same melody. You instead of going in B flat, you going in A sharp or whatever, or G flat or whatever. I'm gonna show you the limit of my musical skills. Even though I did play a clarinet at one time, and way back then. But it's starting to come like that. I'm sitting here. You mentioned that particular interception that Mills throw. That to me, like as far as I was concerned, that was like, okay, that was good for him. He got a 73-yard touchdown interception run to his case, and it's going to be on SportsCenter and everything else. They're going to show it. I mean, obviously it's going to be shown. But here's the deal: Mills threw the ball 41 times today, and 28 completions out of 41 times. He had 300. He had an interception at the worst time, but I mean, there were some things, and I'm still asking. I mean, yeah, I know they tried some little sets come out with this little set, spread it everybody out, then everybody run back into the center. And I'm sitting there going like, okay, that's real nice. But what are you gonna do out of it other than just put it on film and show it to somebody? You gonna hold that for another 2 or 3 weeks? By that time, 2 or 3 weeks, you might be 2 or 3 more losses to the good down there. So I mean, if you're gonna do it, do something with it, because you caught a team that really was flat-footed. They were flat-footed when they came out doing that, and I'm going like, do something with it. Yeah. I mean, you showing us something, and then all of a sudden you run back in and get tight again, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, that was interesting. I guess because it was in Vegas, they proved that they could have a chorus line, and basically they did a little chorus line. Everybody ran from sideline to sideline, and then they ran back in and they got back to tight formation. That was all real good and cute. But anyway, how effective was it, and what was it designed to do? Was it designed to, what were you trying to get done at that point? And so, and I say that, not maliciously. I'm just saying that, I want to see this team actually progress, but like I say, it's gonna be like molasses, man. Yep. It's like molasses, Elwin.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It seems like one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah. Without a doubt, and so I guess at a certain point, it'll get there at some point. But man, it's just, please, guys, give us some. All right, let's tell you what. Let's take a quick break. Talk and let Mr. Ross talk to us, and then we'll come back and we'll try to finish up on the other side.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. 281-235-5952. Give him a call. In fact, you can call him now. Somebody, I guarantee you, if that call will get answered, it might go to a recording, but I guarantee you they will answer it. So, if you got some issues, folks up there in Gilmer, Texas, you may not, give him a call. He'll talk. He'll be glad to take your call. He'll be glad to sell you some insurance too, without a doubt. And I know y'all got some. That's one thing Gilmer's not missing is the agents. But I tell you what, you don't have a Ken Ross up there. So anyway, Ken Ross is in his agency. Tell you what, call him, give him a call. A great person, great personality, and a heck of a human being, and a heck of an insurance salesman. But Elvin, all right, that's out behind the books. Now my understanding, and if somebody told me that you staying in Vegas for a little while longer, and somebody else told me, I understand you're supposed to go be seeing Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, buddy. Wednesday night at the Venetian.
At the Venetian.
And we're on the second row center stage.
Well, I guess Verdi, you're gonna get up close and tight to Philip Bailey and Verdi and White now, and go but anyway,
just about everything they did was a hit, AD, as you know.
Oh, and look, let me tell you something. Everybody start talking about the Rolling Stones. I have nothing against the Rolling Stones, but as far as, from a band, show band, they just want to show up and just can entertain an audience. In a big atmosphere, that was the group. In my opinion, hands down, with the stuff that first time I saw him was at the old Jefferson Stadium. And I mean, inside of a stadium, and I saw Maurice basically go up there and make the whole band disappear. And so yeah. And I when I said Jefferson Stadium, somebody going like, ain't no such thing as a Jefferson. That's right. It's where it's TDECU Stadium, University of Houston Field sits at now. That's where it used to be. But anyway, without them now. The Texans now have another 3:05 game that's coming up this Sunday. That's a little bit unique, and especially in that division, they got a late game, and so here's the type of opportunity that again a divisional game like Lovey mentioned that they still in their own righteous way they still can get in this puppy. Yep, they still can get in it. And, because it starts divisionally, and they still they still a game and a half out on just about everybody. Yep. And so they're in this thing. And no, I'm not trying to sell pipe dreams. I'm not trying to sell you a timeshare or anything like that. But if somebody want to buy one, I can sell you mine. But anyway,
well, I'll tell you what, my $100 bill hopes that they're still in this thing.
Yeah, that Benjamin that you went up to Lake Charles? Shreveport. Yeah, you went to Shreveport. You made a special trip to Shreveport and hey, you never know.
No, don't.
It's becoming shrinking. It's becoming a diminished return.
Yeah.
But and some folks say you can go ahead and kiss that one goodbye. But keep as they said. Hope is still alive. Yes. Long as they can get a roll out there. Now, here's the situation. We've seen the Texans coming up. We got Derrick Henry coming in Sunday afternoon. We've already seen backs that had career days.
Yep.
And now the Texans have, for the most part, have been done a pretty decent job in corralling Derrick Henry. Of course, it doesn't take but a couple of runs, and all of a sudden, next thing you keep hitting him, and all of a sudden, here we go. There go Derrick Henry, and he done reeled off a 35 or 40-yard run. So who knows? But and we got a chance to watch a little of that game. Being where we are, so sitting out here on the Pacific time zone, so we got a chance to catch a little of that. But folks, it's not that we want to. It's not that we, I could sit here and spend this showtime ripping the heck out of these guys, but I mean the proof is in the pudding. And as Bill Parcells said, you are what your record say that you are. Mm-hmm. And until they figure out a way to learn how to finish, until they can figure out a way as a defense sitting over the foot as a 3 technique. Sitting over the ball, not jump offside when you're not supposed to, and you sitting there with the doggone ball right there in your eyesight, and you jumping offside, Roy Lopez, or you sitting up there, and it's just things have got. There has to be more discipline there, and you know what, Elwin, and the point probably we can keep driving this point home, but the fact of the matter remains that I don't think there's no more pad days for the players, NFL players, are they?
No, I think you can work out in pads one time a week.
And really the pads that they're working out, they basically in shell.
Yeah, I think it's not the full uniform dress like you were playing a game. I still think that's a problem. And you were talking about a while ago, AD, that they're about the point they need to turn that corner and start having something really good happen. And it reminded me of the old saying, you get to a point, and I think that's about where the Texans are, that moral victories just won't cut it anymore. You got to have the real deal and get the full victory. And I think they're just about to that point. And if that doesn't happen next Sunday, possibly, it may be the end for this season for the fans. And Lord, you and I talked, coming off of this loss, they're at home next Sunday. And then 4 days later, they got the only undefeated in the NFL team in the NFL the Philadelphia Eagles coming into town, and it could really spiral downhill if they don't get something positive next Sunday.
Yeah, we got a young man that played quarterback at Channelview, I think. Yeah, and it could get real ugly Thursday night because let's face it, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn here. The Thursday night football games have been a pile of trash, with the exception of the exception of the last game. They've basically been a pile of trash.
Yeah, they've been blowouts for the most part.
Yeah, they've been blowout on both ends. I mean, the last week game was the first time that they had scoring and everything. But for the most part, those games have been duds. They've been
They have.
And I think a lot of it has to do with that 4-day turnaround. And everybody says, "Oh yeah, we care about the health of our players." Okay, then why you got guys having to do a 4-day turnaround? I mean, and I mean, to me, I mean, in some kind of way you have to figure out the schedule where these guys can at least come off a bye week. And I know everybody can't come off the bye week, but I mean, they can figure out everything else. But the NFL, let's face it, the NFL is hypocritical in their own way.
It's all about the money.
Oh yeah, it's strictly about the money. They can care because every much as you like the players, I mean, they're depreciable assets. I mean they're a depreciable asset, and the average NFL life is what, only 3.2 years.
Yep.
Period. I don't care running back anybody. It's 3.2 years. I mean, we talk about the guys who have played 10, 12 years and so forth. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's an exception to the rule. Aaron Rodgers, you're an exception to the rule. Because the way the rules are now, Brady probably can't play to 50.
Yeah. It's almost touch football when it comes to the quarterbacks.
Oh, it is touch. I mean, Troy Aikman got in trouble with it, last week at that roughing the passer. People took exception to the fact it's time to take the dresses off of him, and I know basically what he was saying. Well, I don't think that was a trying to dress down and saying, well, females couldn't play football. But bottom line was that no, I mean, I understand that those are the keys. That's the folks that selling. Those are the folks that bring the folks through the turnstile. If you don't have a quarterback, and let's be quite candid about this. 7 teams are probably happy with their quarterbacks right now.
Yeah. No more
17.
than that.
No more than 7. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to count them all off now, because I'm pretty sure when I get past maybe 3 or 4 or 5, somebody say, "Oh no, we're not happy with him."
Yeah.
Because looking at the records and everything. Closing comments on you, Elvin, as we get ready to shut this bad boy down and we'll go ahead and just see, maybe take a look around and see the rest of what Vegas look like.
Well, again, I think the biggest thing is the moral victories are over. They've got to find a way to win that game against Tennessee Sunday, and it's not going to be easy. Let's face it now. We don't know if Ryan Tannehill was hurt really that bad or not. I know he went back in after he had his injury.
Right.
But that could play a factor in it. But somehow, some way, the Texans have got to find a way to finish on defense, to start strong and finish strong on offense, and to cut out the stupid penalties and the mistakes. And that's just about where they are. It's just, it's got to happen, and it's almost now or never.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I mean, it's as simple as that. I know folks getting tired of each week, and the ones that, and I know we started off with a big bang, and probably folks probably said, "Nah, I don't want to hear it no more." But I tell you what, Gohan, I appreciated the text. I mean, the comments, you said Mills is not the one for the Texans. Well, Gohan, I hate to tell you this, there's nobody else left in the cupboard.
Nope. Cupboard's bare.
It's bare, and so. Until they figure out, which one of these quarterbacks, whether it's going to be the kid from Ohio State, whether it's going to be one from Alabama, or is it somebody out there that really, that's not on the horizon that we probably see, but they might have their own. It's not there, and and the way they plan to play pitch and catch and patty cake with the quarterback, and I mean, I'm not going to go back there. but the last 2 weeks of seeing some of those roughing the passers call, I'm I
It's
literally.
a joke.
Yeah, well, I want to say stronger words, but I'm not.
Well, I do too, but I'm trying to keep it polite.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it polite too. Hey man, enjoy Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Will do.
You and the lady, y'all have yourself a good time. Enjoy them, and I'm gonna go probably take a look outside. It's chilly here in Vegas, folks. I'm gonna tell you that it's a little chilly. Elvin don't think it is.
You will.
No, I'm not a wimp. It's chilly here, man. Come on. Hey, flights were grounded, man. Trying to come into this place, man. It took me almost half the night to get in here. So for all this high wind and then the plane doing the rock and roll and back and forth and finally bouncing on the runway. So no, I mean it was bad enough, man. So now I got to go fly back into that same stuff that's left out of here a week ago. So I mean a day ago. I mean we talking about less than 36 hours ago. So Anyway. It is what it is. Elwin, enjoy it, man. I appreciate it. And hey, like I said, we had a nice time. Last point. Let me say this. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it. Raider Nation is what they say they are. It's real. Yes. Folks, you owe it to yourself to come out to a Raiders game and actually see it. It's real.
It's louder, AD, than I have heard a stadium in a lot of Super Bowls. Now, of course, the fact that it's a dome stadium that doesn't open up does certainly affect that. But, man, that noise was deafening, and they were dead serious about it.
Oh, man. And those folks, I saw, you could have said this was several folks that could have been resembling the Addams family dressed in black showing up at the game tonight. Raider Nation is real, folks. Just like Bill's Mafia, Raider Nation is real. They are entertaining group. I mean, they were in the parking lot. You remember we walked past the parking lot, and the police was saying, it's time to go. And Raider Nation was still sitting there throwing one back, talking about, no, bro, we got to celebrate this one. They were steady throwing them back. And so, hey, without further ado, Ray, hey man, enjoy. Have a safe trip home, and we'll be in touch. And hopefully, Lord willing, I'll see you Sunday, man.
You bet, brother. Thanks.
Take care.
Me. Have a great week.
We'll do. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, that's it. Yeah, as we get ready to wrap this one again. Yep, the Texans, they had a point, and they didn't make their point today. They rolled craps. Yes. And for those of y'all that didn't quite understand that terminology, get somebody to explain it to you. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional gambler. So I don't know. But hey, remember, COVID is still out there. If you hadn't got your boosters, go get your boosters. If you hadn't got your flu shots, go get your flu shots. Hey, be kind to someone. Don't forget, in Texas, early voting starts. Well, in Harris County, it starts tomorrow, and I think all over the city. Depending on what locale, but I know in Harris County, early voting starts tomorrow. Exercise your right to vote. Folks died for that right. Vote for whoever. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. Just go vote. Go exercise your right. So without further ado, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, signing off from Vegas. And we will get back to H-Town, into the Bayou City sometime tomorrow afternoon. And thank you. God bless. Peace. Ciao. And I'm out.